What's up, everyone? This Core P. We got Ross.
Hey, y'all.
We got
Hey.
Rach. We got Britt from the
What's
block.
up?
And this is Breaking Bread. How y'all doing?
Doing
Man,
great.
2020 been crazy,
Ooh,
man.
wait.
Like, I mean,
But it's almost over.
it's almost over. We almost said
Oh.
we made it. We made it.
Yeah.
This is our last episode.
Who would have
Last
thought
episode. I know.
that this year would have been how it is?
Not
like,
me.
I'm still mind blown at the fact that we literally had a staff meeting last year, planned the whole year. It ain't none of that
Ain't
stuff.
none of that
Nah.
And I think it
None
was
of
like
it.
there was this huge like anticipation for 2020, the year of
The year of
vision.
I know the year.
Vision.
Yeah, it's some vision.
Yeah.
I'm just-
Oh yeah.
You see it inside your house.
See, I'm telling you, boy.
Oh,
You see it a
nothing
lot.
but the four walls of your house.
So let's start in January. Like things just
Ooh.
popped off. Rach, what you got?
So I think it's funny that it kind of started with a scandal, and we thought that was going to be like a big thing. Whenever Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, they left the royal family, they just basically said we don't want to be a part of this life anymore, and they moved. Like they were literally royal family, and they just said never mind.
They probably hate
Why,
him.
though?
He married a black woman and said, I'm
Right.
out of
Is it
here.
because she black? I mean, like, I know nothing about this. Do you?
I know a little bit about it from the perspective that I know it was challenging for her. It's so many different guidelines being a part
Yeah.
of the family,
Yeah.
and so many things that you have to follow and you got to know. And honestly, just being real, like who really cares now? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Right.
That's
like
what
it's so.
Seriously.
I mean,
It used to be such a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it still is a huge thing
Huge.
because that's their
Yeah.
government over there. But it's like,
but they
there's
really don't
so
have too much power from this perspective
Right.
of what go on now. They have
Right.
power. They got influence. Let's
they have
change it.
influence,
They
but
have
they don't
influence.
have
They don't
like
have that
power,
power to-
that
yeah.
a lot of people
Yeah.
see whenever they see princes and kings and queens and stuff like that. There's a lot of deep rooted issues that come with that kind of like governmental setup anyway.
Yeah.
But it is. I mean, it's pretty big that they stepped down from their roles. I think anyway.
Yeah. That was.
But that
big.
was popping off in January.
Yeah. And then we got COVID-19 pandemic.
Whew.
January the night hit. Like that. I mean, we went over
That
here
was
in
in
America.
China.
Yeah, it was in China, but over here we still was living it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like we
I
went.
remember seeing videos about coronavirus and everybody being like, "Oh, coronavirus! Like, ooh, such a big deal," and just kind of playing with it. And then here we are.
Like
you know.
everything, like March, everything shut down.
Yeah.
Here in America, you know,
Yeah.
and so that's. I mean, I used to see, like, you got to think about it, before even Corona hit, in those countries, they was wearing masks already.
They were
like everywhere. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. And now we doing it. That's the,
Yeah.
Before COVID hit?
yeah.
Just regular life?
Yeah.
Yeah, because of different different diseases, of bacteria, whatever was going on.
It was
over there.
kind of like a norm for them.
Yeah.
And I think like the COVID really put a lot of things in our lives in perspective. I mean, I would think so. There's a lot of faults that we're seeing based on different employers and stuff like that and how they handled it. Whenever it came over here, everything had to shut down. I saw there was some people who were laid off, and different corporations couldn't handle it, and just kind of showed a lot of things that were wrong within our country, and really showed the true colors of a lot of people and how they handle crisis.
Yeah, it exposed a lot. Like,
did expose a
seriously.
lot.
And so it definitely made a major difference.
And then, man, Kobe died.
COVID.
Man,
I remember when we found out. It was
Yeah.
in the church.
Church,
I remember.
I was in Publix by then.
Oh, you was in public. We was
Nah.
all in the front
Me-
over here.
yeah.
In the
Dang, I
front
must have
office.
left
And I
early.
You
think-
did leave early.
Who
Skipped
said
out.
it? Somebody
I
came
know
in and said
Tara
it.
told me.
Libby
Kobe
came
died.
in.
And I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah,
Man.
Well, I mean, it blew me away. Kobe was my favorite basketball player.
for
Like,
real.
yeah, because he came out during the time, like, I mean, he was a high school student.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like so, like, just, he inspired me. Like, just to see a
Yeah.
young man go from
look at
high
that.
school to the NBA, that's huge.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think he influenced a lot of people outside of basketball.
Yeah.
Because for me personally, like, I don't watch a whole lot of basketball, but I know who Kobe is. I followed a lot of the things that he did. He was just a good person in general, good family guy and stuff like that. And so he set a good example for a lot of people, and it really shook a lot of those
Such
people
a tragic
whenever
loss. to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, whenever
So
he
sad.
It was
died.
a tragic loss.
It was
Like,
very tragic.
I was never really big into basketball either. I mean, I like a couple of different players like Westbrook and stuff like that. But I wasn't a huge Kobe fan, but it affected me.
It
I was
did,
really
yeah.
like sad about it.
I was,
You know,
yeah.
he really made a big impact in the world, and like you said, he's positive. I didn't follow a lot of his stuff, but I mean, I know
It
who
all
he
came
is.
out.
Yeah.
I
It was
mean,
like, man,
yeah.
he's a good
He's
dude.
like one of those people. Like I can watch anything somebody passionate about. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah,
Like, but if
yeah.
you see somebody just so passionate, like he
he
just
was
had.
so passionate about
He
basketball.
loved
Yeah.
basketball.
He was
Yeah.
gonna be the greatest
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
Like, period.
Yeah.
I mean, you think
Shout
you
out to
just
him.
you're just walking past the trash can, throw a
Kobe.
picture- Kobe.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Kobe.
just a thing you did, and so now it's like, oh, R.I.P. But you know, he really did make a big impact, and you know, we can't go without recognizing his daughter who was with him, who
Definitely.
also had a big passion for basketball.
And the
Yeah.
way that they died was sad.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
It
I
was
mean, her
tough.
story is still going. I think they got the academy going. I mean,
Yeah.
that just to see the influence, even at her age.
I mean, yeah, she's
I mean,
she's
yeah.
so young
Yeah,
and still
so
made a big impact.
definitely praying for the Bryant family.
Yeah, yeah.
Man.
Then
What else?
we got Black Lives Matter protests.
Oh
man.
yeah.
Ooh, man, that's been.
Do you
Lord,
think?
Lord.
Do you think that? And I know where I stand on this, but
Mhm.
I just like to ask the question of if COVID hadn't hit and we were not all in the house for the most part, do you think it would have had as big of an impact as it did whenever George Floyd died?
Maybe not.
I don't think so. I
And
don't
the only
think-
reason is because now their lives were at a standstill.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Where they actually paid attention to what was going on.
yeah,
People always moving. They always
Mhm.
working. They always hustle and bustle of life. They don't stop to actually, like, they may hear, oh man, they died, but now you at home, you ain't got nothing to do.
Yeah.
So now you actually see it,
Yeah.
yeah.
and you like really. You don't think COVID had anything to do with it, or it was just time, huh?
Just, I mean, because we done had like the Trayvon Martin, everybody came out like.
I agree.
they
No, I
stood
agree.
for it, so it's been around, but I mean, people get shot every
But
day
you
out
think
of
about you think
But-
about
but
it like
seriously.
this is was my thought about it is people are home from work. They're not going to work. They're more able to go to these marches. It's more accessible to them now because they don't have to be at work during the day.
Yeah.
They maybe have lost their job and that has, contributed to their animosity towards whatever and then they're able to assemble. They're able to spend this time really researching and understanding and, because they're sitting at home.
Yeah.
And they're seeing these things on the news and more people are coming out and saying different things. I agree because the Trayvon Martin stuff and in everything that's happened since, years and years and years that I can remember of has sparked something in people, but there are still protests going on today from
Right.
what started from the George Floyd stuff.
I think people are sick of it too, not just the
Yeah.
year. Like people sick of it. So with being home,
Yeah.
I think
and
it's a
stuff like that,
combination
it was
of
a lot
of
being
things.
at home,
And
it
then
was
emotions
just
of
happening.
the-
But
Like we
I'm
sick
gonna
of
be
it.
honest. Like for a person who working and trying to just make it, living paycheck to paycheck, they're not focused on other people, man.
Yeah.
It's a challenge to be focused on other people because you focus on your family.
Right.
Right.
You focus on
You don't have
surviving.
time to focus
You don't have
on
time. But in this situation, they was getting unemployment.
Yeah.
They were getting receive the stimulus check. So
Big
like,
monies.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, some of them was making.
COVID is unfortunate, and I mean
Yeah.
it sucked, but some people really came up this
Yeah.
year
I
that
mean, I
would
still-
not
I
have.
think
Businesses
and I feel
been
so bad
happening,
for
them
those
loan,
people.
the SBA that came
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
dropping 10 racks, people who ain't never
Man.
had nothing out here living now.
Yeah.
But
So
I
do
feel
think
so
that,
bad
man.
for those people though who just blew it, man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know people who just blew that money.
Yeah.
Man, if I can get my
Got it.
hands on some of that money,
Man.
But I do think like Rachel made a great point from if a lot of that wasn't going on, how many people would have cared though?
Yeah.
Or had a time. See,
Yeah.
they would have been working.
Yeah, they would have cared, but they would have been like,
Yeah,
man,
like just had the
let's do
time
some
to.
TV.
Yeah, because even with Trey Martin, like that's crazy. Like when I think about what happened to that young man, still to this day, like
crazy.
it should have been
Yeah.
changed then. Like
Right.
Yeah,
well, it should have
there's-
been. Things should have been changed
A long
yeah,
time
a long
ago.
time ago.
Way
Yeah,
back
yeah.
then.
I mean, we got people
well,
right here in
you say
Mobile.
way back then, but like
It really wasn't that long
it's
ago.
not because we were
Yeah.
just talking not too long ago that Rosa Parks is just turned 60.
Yeah.
60, not Rosa Parks. I'm
Yeah,
tripping.
I'm
Ruby
like,
Bridges.
Ruby.
Ruby Bridges. I'm sorry. Ruby Bridges.
I was like,
Yeah.
bro, she's still back.
About
know
Ruby
that, but-
Bridges. Ruby Bridges was
Yeah.
the first black child to
To
be
go-
at a
okay,
white
okay.
school.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why I said Rosa Parks.
Ruby
But-
Rose, I get
You
it.
know,
Yeah.
but she's only 60.
Yeah.
And she was the first black child to be at a white school.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that was crazy. She had to have security, all type of stuff. So I
mean-
mean, It hasn't been that long.
Well, and then with the mix of COVID, kids were home from school.
Yeah.
And this generation of teens and young adults, they're kind of like, they're on it when it comes to that kind of stuff. Just using social media to get the word out and to educate people and to talk about these things. And they do their research when it comes to that kind of stuff, especially if it's something they're passionate about. So they were able to use that time. They weren't at school.
Yep,
They
you're
weren't
right.
having to work. They were stuck in the house, and they were just like, we're tired of this.
You just said some social media. I think that's what made it so big too. Think about it. That
Yeah.
video was shared everywhere
That's
Right.
true.
before they took. So kids saw it, even though it was graphic, adult, everybody saw that
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
So I think that would kind of like it went viral. So
Because-
it went viral
yeah.
on social media and it went viral in the world. So
Yeah.
that's what made people be like, we got to do something. We got
Right.
Because with
Stuff
Trayvon Martin,
happened,
yeah, we didn't
but
see
we didn't see it.
Yeah.
But
Right.
this like it was like this really happened.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
And it makes it to where you can't ignore it. I think that that's a lot of the things with like social media is when it's out there, there's pressure put on. And even if it were, the kind of situation where the lawyers and the police and all that kind of stuff, they've been able to kind of sweep things under the rug and gloss things over and stuff like that. They weren't able to anymore. They had people standing at their door going, what are you going to do
what
now?
are you gonna do now?
And they weren't letting up. So I think that was a good thing.
Yeah.
What else we got on this list?
So, Biden became the Democratic presidential nominee, and he picked the first African American Asian woman.
She's Asian too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Check her out.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
I
you
didn't know that either.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's black and Asian.
Yeah.
Man, Blasians, they're the most beautiful.
To be the
Yeah, she is
VP candidate. Which I thought, what did y'all think of? Did it as a woman too? Because I mean, she the first, first woman vice president,
Yeah.
Yeah, and
first
she,
black,
yeah.
first Asian. All these, like, how do you all feel about
I
that?
think it's dope.
I think
It
it's
is
really
because
cool.
I mean, don't judge me for this, but I was just like, oh, so if Biden dies, she'll be the president. That's
I mean,
That is how that works.
That is, yeah,
That is how
yeah.
that
She is
works.
the next person on
Yeah.
the list,
Yeah.
yeah,
that's
but
big.
Yeah.
That's huge.
it is big, and I think that we're gonna see more of that. But the fact that it's such a breakthrough for women, black women, and Asian women as well. Like, I mean, I think it's incredible. It's regardless of if you agree with her, policies and stuff like that. I think anybody should celebrate that, especially if you're a woman.
Yeah, I heard a story. James White, he posted that he remember being in a classroom and one of his classmates that was a girl said that she wanted to be the president one day, and the teacher told her to go back and pick another career or profession
Wow.
because that's not possible. And now look,
Yeah.
like in his lifetime, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's powerful. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That having representation
Yeah.
is very important. So that was huge. And,
Yeah.
we also, man, it was crazy. Black Panther, man.
We lost
I
the
was
man.
just
Man.
looking at that. Man,
Yeah,
Chadwick.
I mean, he
So
does
sad.
like,
Chadwick is
so
so
many movies.
dope.
James Brown.
He is dope.
Was
Yeah.
it
Third
22?
yeah,
The Jackie Robinson movie?
the jacket. Yeah,
42.
42.
42.
Yeah, Jackie
Add another
Robinson.
20.
I watched that
I
movie
mean-
after he
You know,
died. I was so sad.
The craziest
can't
thing,
believe it.
the man, it's what's crazy to me about that is the fact that he's been dealing with this.
Yeah.
And
Nobody
nobody
knew.
knew.
Yeah.
Like he,
Nobody knew.
I
People
used to
close
watch
to him knew, but nobody publicly.
and like
Yeah.
super close.
Like, not even
apparently
like
not
the
even
people
like
he
his
was on
coworkers.
set
Set
with.
with.
Right.
They didn't know.
Like that's crazy. But I used to watch all the I'm just being real. I used to watch all the interviews because I love Michael B. Jordan, and so
Oh, yeah.
I used to watch him. But now I go back and I rewatch some of them. Like, man,
he was
sick, and like I mean sick, but he was so humble. He was so nice.
Yeah.
Like he would always do the little Black Panther
Yeah.
sign. He would take the time to have conversations with people and all
Yeah.
this stuff, but he was hurting. And it's crazy that, he really poured so much of himself out there despite what he was going through.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
man,
R.I.P.
Chadwick.
Black Panther.
Man,
Seriously.
so what's going to happen with Black Panther 2?
I don't know. They said that they're in the comic books. I think that
The sister
the
series?
sister ends up taking over, and so they
It's
may
in
go into
comic
that.
books.
Yeah, it was a.
Yeah.
it was-
Girl,
that's how it
it's Marvel.
started.
That's how it started.
Yeah.
Don't do me like that.
I just said how it started. That's all I'm
That is how it started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. That's
And I
crazy.
think again that goes back to representation. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? As just being a young black man growing up, we didn't see superheroes.
Right.
you know. And so I think a lot of people didn't understand the importance of, like, why it's so big. Like, man, we didn't get to see that.
Yeah.
And so it's inspiring so many kids and youth,
Yeah.
you know. And so I
My-
mean, you saw pictures of the young kids crying,
Yeah,
man. Like,
Yeah.
because they
man.
really felt. Yeah, my nephew would always, whenever he would watch it, he'd say, "Daddy," because he thought
Man.
Black
Your
Panther was his dad.
Oh Lord. Wait a minute.
But it's because he saw
Definitely.
somebody
I
who looked like
understand.
him. He did.
Black
Man,
I
Alright.
say it.
representation.
Representation, man. They have that on Netflix.
Oh my goodness.
They do
Y'all-
all black movies.
Y'all know the wildfires in the West Coast. One of them was started because of a gender reveal.
really?
They
Yeah,
did a little smoke thing.
they did like a little. I think it was something to do with fire, and they started an entire wildfire.
So what happens to them? Do they get?
They
Like,
got in trouble.
they
Yeah,
get arrested for that?
I don't know if they got arrested, but they didn't get in trouble.
But that
for
was harmless. How did that?
because they have like a season of dryness. We don't
Yeah.
have those here.
Oh.
But because it rains all the time here,
Yeah.
but they have a season of like dryness where it's and wind where it's easy for fires to start, and so they're not allowed to burn things.
Oh
and
man. So
yeah.
you got to follow the rules, man.
Man.
Yeah, that's it.
That's crazy.
Can you imagine your gender reveal starts an
Man,
entire wildfire
know.
in the state of
That'd be
Hey, I'm having a
Like
boy.
that. I mean,
What would you
that's
name the
it.
boy?
Fire.
Fire. What's up, fire?
Cold.
Let's see what else we
Ha,
got. Trump testing positive, and in the same breath, Joe becomes president.
Yeah.
That was deep.
Yeah.
No comment.
I mean, you know, the thing about it is, like, I was excited to see so many people voting, honestly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like, that's my
goodness.
thing. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I think it's so important. You know, if you believe in somebody and this the person, like, go and vote, man. You gotta stop complaining. You know, and I think it broke the record.
It did.
Yeah, as so many people came out and voted. So that was huge right there.
People I knew personally who've been registered to vote never voted, and they voted this election. So I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's important, like these kind of, this election was very just kind of tense in general. But I knew I stood in line next to people who were not voting the same as me. But I was really happy to see that the line was so long when I got there at
That's it.
7 something in the morning. Like I thought I'm gonna beat the crowds, and that was not
sure
true.
wasn't.
yeah,
Um,
I was in line.
But they were
2
coming out
hours.
because they thought they really believed in the democratic process
Yeah.
and that their vote counted. And regardless of how your state turned out, your vote still counted
Yeah.
in the overall because that matters too.
Yeah, and hopefully, like, coming out of this, like, we get to that place where we can start respecting each other differences.
Mhm.
I think that's the thing. Like, we all gonna see things different. But we gotta learn to respect each other, man.
Yeah.
And hopefully, through this, and and with this our new president, VP, that they can do that. They can help.
Yeah.
In
We'll
that
see what
arena.
happens.
Yeah.
We'll see
Um,
what happens.
But as we're getting to the end of the list, I realized we totally missed something big.
What?
Like the whole having to stay home quarantine and all the toilet
Oh,
paper and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my
That was
goodness.
crazy.
The way that people acted at the beginning of shutdown, like we're gonna have to answer to our children and grandchildren about what we did.
We just didn't know though. It was all new. It was just like
Yeah,
the
the
world
things-
finna shut down.
But don't you
the
think,
things
like,
that we
that's kind of
didn't
like
know.
I think it was a little setup in some things. Because, like,
Absolutely.
you look at the hand sanitizer right now, it's on. You can find nowhere now. It's all on every shelf. That
But it's not
Dollar
the same.
Tree. Time the hand sanitizer
Yeah, it's not made out of the same stuff.
stuff.
It smells weird.
Really, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not the same.
But the weird thing is, like, all the stuff was running out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you
and to
can.
think about all the innovation that it caused people to have, because you had like big companies that are used to making liquor. Now they've made hand sanitizer because
Yeah.
the main ingredient is alcohol. But they had to shift their business model to make something that the world needed. There were other places that made, I don't remember who it was, maybe GE or something like that. They started making more of the respirators. And I mean, it was just like all these, big companies shifted to help, into the greater good of the population just based on that one thing.
Yeah,
And it shows you what people are capable of if they really want to do something.
Right.
yeah,
That's
I
true.
agree.
Shout out to the church. We had to go from having people inside
Yeah.
Yeah,
to people who did not
yeah.
have a live stream, never did that or whatever.
Yeah.
They had to learn how to do that to
Yeah.
upgrade to service their people.
being
right?
prepared.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean? Like that, like preparation. Like, I really, what you said, Roz, is powerful because a lot of people weren't prepared.
Yeah.
Right.
And so when the change happened, they didn't know what to do. I mean, some churches still haven't even opened. They
Yeah.
haven't,
Right,
but
that's
we was
crazy.
able to, I mean, we never closed because
Right.
we
We
were
was able to
prepared.
service, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we was already doing it. And I think that's the thing. Like, we got to get to that place where we be innovative in every area of our life, So,
Because we don't know what's coming.
yeah.
Right.
You
That's
know,
why you need Holy Spirit.
Because
Exactly.
yeah,
keeps you ahead
absolutely.
of time.
Keeps you
Come
ahead of
on now.
time. Because I mean,
Yeah.
Pastor, man, we got to get Pastor B his props, man. He be staying in that prayer closet. Holy
Yeah.
Spirit be letting him know.
Telling you.
But
I mean,
really,
but
Yeah.
for real
I
though,
mean, because it was just last year, a couple years ago, when he was basically like, "Hey, I don't know what's coming. Take your vitamins."
That's it.
I
He was
mean,
like,
I
don't know."
appreciate him for
Yeah.
the time that he
Me too.
takes
Yeah,
to
and
as a leader to spend
remember that.
because
Yeah.
look at he saved he as a leader he has really
I know
helped this church in so many different ways.
Yeah, for me, like, because I work with kids since July the 6th, we've been back open dealing with kids and on a regular basis. And I was so thankful that I was prepared because I started early when Pastor V announced about the vitamins and,
yeah,
getting
You
your
had a
immune
routine
system.
already with
I
new
already,
kids,
see, I was
right.
ready,
Right.
and prepared. And I think that's the thing. Like, we got to get to that place where we're being prepared and also being able to hear from a man of God, a woman of God, when God give it to them
They
to be
take heed-
obedient.
take
yeah,
heed
yeah,
to it.
Yeah, and
Take
implement it.
heed.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
not wait.
I think it's years like this. Like, I feel like now people's lives are changed forever because of this year, regardless of if they're Christian or not. They have a different outlook on life because of the things that have happened in this year. Hopefully it'll make people be more prepared and maybe, have shifted their perspective on what really matters.
Yeah, I know. 2020 has been crazy, but
It has.
some. It's some great things that happened in 2020
Oh, yeah.
as well. If you don't mind, share something like with the people that like, oh man, it was just amazing. Because we've been talking about some. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna be
Like,
real with
yeah,
you. This was a good year for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it really has been. Yeah, things, it
looked
didn't go in the
different,
direction that
right.
I expected it to go. Yeah, there's been a lot of bad things that happened, but it's so crazy, man. I sat right back in the back when we had our Level Up Sunday, and I wrote a whole list
Yeah.
of stuff for my Level Up pledge, right?
Yeah.
How about I just went back and looked at it? Almost everything
Wow.
has
Yeah.
come to pass or is in the works of coming to pass.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it. Like
Yeah.
sometimes we get so caught up with all the bad stuff that's happening, we miss there's so much good stuff that's
Yeah.
That's
happening.
it.
Like God's been moving like crazy in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great to know those kind of things too for people who maybe they have been focusing on the things that have gone wrong.
Yeah.
But I thought about it as when we first shut down, I got to spend a month and a half with my family. That I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to do that kind of, spending time with them again, just because everybody's getting grown and all that kind of stuff. I was able to just hang out with them. I don't get to see them much. They live, over 300 miles away. I loved that.
Yeah.
They probably were tired of me and wanted me to leave. But I was happy to be there,
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to shift your focus because, like you said, there are a lot of good things that have happened in this year. But the stories that we get on the news maybe are not always that great. But we have to look into our own lives and see how God has been
Right.
faithful.
We're still
That's
here.
it. I'm
That's
telling you.
what
That's
I'm saying.
it.
If I have to wrap up the year, even with all the crazy stuff, I would say grateful because even stuff what the enemy meant for evil,
Yeah.
God always turns it around. Like, I mean, He literally have protected us. And like, think about us. We haven't stopped. We'd have been at service. We'd have been
Yeah.
to church.
Sure
People that
have.
open up. None of us, thank God, have been challenged. None
Yeah.
of us, our
Right.
families are protected. Like, not being insensitive to people who have had tragedies or
Yeah.
something. But I'm just like, man, we ain't missed a beat. Thank
Yeah.
you, Lord.
We really
Yeah.
haven't.
Yeah.
We really haven't.
And I think that's a privilege that we have, is to look back and go, it's kind of been good. It's been the same for us, but we recognize that God has been so, so, so faithful. And that's what we attribute it to. We don't attribute it to anything other, of ourselves or anything
I
like
ain't
that.
did nothing, man. It's
Because
all
we
God.
didn't. Yeah, we didn't do anything. But it's, we can show people how good God has been just because, all this stuff on all these pages, tragedy and, things that are scary. But
we-
You know,
we've
I
been
think
killed.
when
But-
people
Yeah.
get saved, and now don't quote me. I'm just saying this is just my thoughts. So I'm not.
well, we're going to quote you.
Well, I mean, you quote me, but don't. Whatever. I think when people get saved, like I'm talking somebody in the world, they assume that their life is just gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good. I'm a Christian now, and then things might go. Actually, that happened to me. I thought, okay, cool, I'm saved, I'm good. I ain't gonna have no problems. I ain't gonna have no trouble. But it comes, and actually, it seems like it comes even more.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, no matter what comes, God is still good. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many things that he's done. I mean, you listed
Many
up.
afflictions of the righteous.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the
it.
Lord.
Man.
Come
And
on.
so, but he'll
Preach.
give you peace. He gives you peace.
Yeah.
You know, like I know no matter what happens, we're gonna be good.
I
because
think that's for me. I think it's the peace. For
It's the
me.
peace.
It's the
Because
peace for
stuff
me.
is crazy. The year
Yeah.
has been crazy.
Right.
Like it has been some I don't know moments or
Right.
yikes or something like that. But it's the peace, man. Like
Mhm.
praying and just be like, God, you see, like this is crazy.
Yeah.
But the peace that like you get after that, like it's gonna be good.
because
Yeah.
you know he got you.
Yeah.
Without that, like people who have anxiety, not like trying to water it down, but I think that's because they don't know what you got. We got
Yeah.
literally.
Their
He
minds.
say, "Be careful for nothing, but in everything through prayer." So like,
Right.
all you gotta do is talk to this man,
Yeah.
and you good.
Oh,
And then
Lord.
you gotta realize you creating his image and likeness.
Yeah.
So if you creating his image and likeness, you gotta have the same mindset. You know, I love about the story when they was crossing over and the storm came. You know, the storm was going on, but Jesus was asleep.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
that didn't even
taking a
bother
nap.
him. Like the only
He was
reason
out.
when I realized the only reason why he said peace to the storm because they needed it.
Right.
He was
Right.
good.
Man,
Like
sure
that's
was.
how amazing. Like
Yeah.
he was good.
He was
what
like,
y'all
I was
care
just
about this
chilling.
What y'all
storm?
waking
I
me
don't
up
care about
for?
these waves. And then he like, cause I know I'm getting to the other side.
Right.
And as believers,
Yeah.
we gotta have that same mindset. And you know, and 2020 has been a storm for some. But I just want to encourage you, like, man, peace is there. You got to declare it. The
is.
Bible
It
says
really
death
is.
and life is in the power of the tongue. What you speaking?
Yeah.
What you saying out your mouth? You know, and so for me, you know, I just got to that place where everything that I declared when, you know, January here, everybody write their list, you know, things
Right.
you want to see. And it been manifesting, man. It's going to the next level. Like during this time, my wife, I never even thought about my wife writing a book. She on her second book. Like,
Yeah.
this crazy. What? This
I can't
taking
believe
place?
that.
I know, isn't
I
that
know.
crazy?
I love
I'm
that.
saying, like, come on, let's make this money. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I'm like, man, this just, God is so awesome. Just seeing with my kids and the growth, even with myself, you know, with my church. It's like everything I'm touching, you know, whatever I'm a part is blessed. And you got to have that mindset, regardless of what's going on in the world. With you as a believer, God can do whatever. You know, he could just change your life. So you got to keep that faith.
Something else that I personally learned was that, of course, we should have vision, and you need to make plans. But at the end of the day, you know, God, things can change. Like, it's not, you can't just like, man, I'm still stuck on the fact that we literally planned this whole year and it nothing happened.
Yeah.
Like, seriously though,
Yeah.
because it let me see, like, okay, we still need to be in a spot where we hear God and we say, okay, these
You
are the
can
plans we made, God.
Redirect.
But if you need to redirect, we need to
I'm
go a
open
different
to it.
way. Hey,
Yeah.
we're open to it.
That's it.
You know, so
And to always be, like you said, sensitive to that, and just kind of be willing to go in that direction of
Right.
where he wants you to go, even if it doesn't make any sense.
right.
Yeah.
At the time, because, you know, it may have, you know, there are things that may have not made sense, you know, years and years ago whenever Pastor V was like, okay, we're going to live stream, and people were like, why would you do that? You know, there may have been some questions, or, you know, Facebook used to be the devil when it came to church, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but now people are relying on it to get the word out.
That's
Right.
it.
You know, so even if this year God is asking you to do something or to start something or to make something, and you're like, yeah, but that doesn't fit into anything that I've got going on. You
be
never know what's
obedient.
coming around the corner.
Right.
That's it.
That you need to be obedient and do that now.
And you,
And, you know, and we started breaking bread.
We
I was
did.
you beat me to it. I was gonna say the same
So
thing.
we started breaking bread. It's a little what God can do. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? He can do, you know, new things are coming out this year. And we just declaring, we still speaking that the year not over with.
It's true.
I'm
Yeah.
Still
telling
got
you.
about
So
like
I still
36
got
days.
stuff on my list.
You got 30, and guess what, y'all? I got about 50 some days. I'm gonna be 30.
Okay.
I'm excited about 2021.
I am
Me
too.
too.
I'm
2021.
very excited about
Me too.
2021.
I think
Great
we don't need
things.
to dismiss the things that 2020 has taught us.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, you know, a lot of people
Baby,
are like,
you didn't have faith. I bet you got it.
yeah,
now.
right. A lot of people are like, "Ugh, get it out of here. I don't want to see it anymore." First of all, when the clock strikes 12 a.m. on January 1st, 2021, this doesn't go away. Like,
Wow,
it doesn't
that's
just
good.
erase it all,
Wow, that's
right?
powerful.
Because it's just another day. Just like tomorrow is tomorrow, it's gonna just be another tomorrow.
Right.
Now, can we decide that, you know, overall we're going to put a new perspective on the year just based on what we've seen in this year? Yeah, that's fine. But it's not just one of those things that it was like coronavirus is going to be until December 30th of 20,
Right.
And then next
31st
year
of
we
2020.
live.
Wow.
And then it goes
know what's
away.
coming.
Man, that's
We don't.
powerful right there. So you got to choose this day. You
Yeah.
don't wait.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't wait till January the 1st. You can start right now.
You
Yeah.
really can.
Right.
Yeah,
You really
like
can.
it's a mindset. You got to change.
Yeah.
Just because
Yep.
the year changed don't mean your
Renew
life is
your
about to
mind.
change.
Yeah.
Right.
Renew your mind. The Bible talks about it all the time
Yeah.
for a reason.
It's
Hey.
still 2020. It's
It's
gonna be
still,
great.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited, guys. Well, hey, I want to thank y'all so much for tuning in for our last episode for the for this year
For this year.
2020. But we will be back.
Season 2.
Season 2. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great year. God bless. Breaking bread.
Okay, we should edit that out.
We can cut that out.